And we're back to another episode of XE54. There have been lots of paranormal activity going around this apartment, and I just need to get it off my chest. I've moved in here about a year ago, and little by little, things would just start happening, which to me seems unexplainable, even though I'm sure there's an explanation for each and every one of them. The first thing that I experienced in this house was drawers falling.
So let me just explain, before Manny got here, it was just me. So then when he got here, I had to make space really quickly. And instead of buying drawers, because we're moving soon, we decided to buy the disposable one you get at Target. So they're like the little plastic ones you can stack on top of each other.
Yeah, and so those drawers started falling. It fell down, then I reorganized it, and a week later, it fell down once again, and then I organized it with nothing on the top anymore. And it hasn't fallen ever since, so I'm assuming it could have been the weight. And then a week after the drawers kept falling, then the whole entire shoe rack that we have in the bedroom fell apart. So I started thinking, I was like, okay, the drawers, coincidence, but this shoe rack, this is not a coincidence. How come the whole entire shoe rack just fell apart? And then my mind, once again, weight. We have tons of shoes. Shoes weigh a lot. So I'm assuming, you know what? This is very explainable. The weight of the shoes knocked down the whole entire rack.
I will have to say, my shoes are very, very heavy, and they're very big. So I think one of my shoes is one of my shoe is 3 pounds. So both together is 6. So compare 12 or 15 pairs of these type of shoes.
Yeah, the one thing though that I do have to say is that this shoe rack has been stable for months, and especially after these drawers are falling apart, I don't necessarily think it's a coincidence. And then after the shoe rack fell apart, maybe 2 weeks after that, we have these frames on the walls that Xavier brought from New York that says New Gardens and Brooklyn and all these different cities in New York, and they started falling off the walls. So it was one by one would start falling, and so I thought that was adding on to the whole drawers falling, the shoe racks falling apart.
But also keep in mind, the apartment I don't like to pound things into walls. So the type of hanging things I had on the walls were those double-sided, heavy-duty 3D tape that has the Velcro. So, but they've been on my wall I've been in this place for 2 years. So they haven't fallen for 2 years.
And once again, we factor in those things into consideration, but when it's happening very frequently, one after the other, a week apart, to me, I don't see that as a coincidence.
You know what's funny? Since I met you, that record, from my gold record, and also my my award I got from Digital Trackers, they've never fallen off the wall. But I think they fell once or twice since I met you.
I didn't know about that.
It was just such a random thing. It was the glass was broken, because they're all glass. They're glass cases. The glass broke, so I had to get.
This is when you first met me?
This is when you first came over. They both fell on the floor.
Oh, it was a sign.
And then that's what I thought. Honestly,
bringing demons into this place.
I thought it was a sign that that somebody from the far beyond was telling me something. But I do have a history where I feel I have dark spirits following me. So anytime something good happens in my life, they interfere. So that's why I figured it was. But again, I use double-sided 3D heavy-duty wall mounts. But they've been on my wall since I've been here. Other places, they've never fallen ever until that time. And I literally just thought about that now.
And then I just found out about that now. So on top of that crazy stuff falling and then all this other crazy stuff falling off the wall. We were coming home maybe like it was like 2 weeks after like the paintings on the wall or like the frames on the wall had fallen down for my mom's house. We came around like midnight and we had both Kalimba and Prince, our fur babies, with us, and we're getting up the elevator from the garage, and the elevator stopped on every single floor, and Xavier thinks that he heard somebody, that the dog saw or like heard somebody. They made some sort of like movement as if they saw somebody.
I mean, you could hear people above us, or I heard footsteps. I heard I'm from New York City, so there's lots of buildings there. They're all like 25, 30 floor, 50 floor apartment buildings. So in my experience, if you get on the elevator and if it stops on every floor, that usually means someone is waiting on the floor to jump you. So that's the same type of vibe I got. And even when we left the car, I felt like we were being watched. I just felt I thought I heard someone like running up the stairs when we got out of my car. And my car is very noticeable. But one good thing about the apartment building is that the parking spots don't really align with where you live. So no one actually knows where I live. So yeah, so I did hear somebody, and the dog, when he got out of when it first stopped on the first floor, he went out and was looking around. His ears was pointed, so I know he heard something.
Yeah, I personally did not hear anything, but I found it very weird that we were stopping on every single floor, and the only reason why it would stop on every single floor is if someone is like physically pressing the button. So Xavier thinks that someone was like playing like a prank on us and like literally running up the stairs, pressing the button to every single floor. And of course, like, this is midnight, everyone's asleep. Like, who is doing this at midnight? So right before we hit our floor, Xavier was like, if this elevator stops one more time, like, we're getting off, we're booking it, because there's probably somebody waiting on our floor to like jump us for like money or whatever,
or steal the dogs.
So it happened to us. We got out, we bucked it, we started running.
We ran down floors to the first floor because whoever was there was probably on the third floor. And as we were running down, we ran like through the pool. We did a whole like thing to not go directly to where we live.
And I do remember, like, me as, like, I was about to turn the corner, I looked back to see if, because the stairs are on the outside, you can see, if there's anybody there. I turned to, see if, like, maybe there's somebody, like, waiting for us or, like, somebody, like, following us. And absolutely no one. So I thought that it wasn't a person. I think it has to do with all this, like, paranormal activity going around us that, like, as freakish and like so, dumb as it sounds, that like this ghost is like hitting like all these buttons on the elevator for us.
And do you remember what happened with the dog? Remember that day I went to get Botox, and then my neighbor texted me?
Well, tell the story.
Well, my neighbor texted me and said, "Oh, by the way, your door's open." I was like, what? My door's open? That's weird. So I turn on my dog camera and I can see my dog running in and out of the apartment. And she asked me if I was there. She said she looked in and she said the dogs were okay. So I turn on my dog camera. I physically see myself closing the door. But then all of a sudden the door's open. Like a next frame, the door's open. The dog's running in and out. So I think Manny was somewhere, but he was coming home. But I asked my neighbor if she can close the door. So that happened as well.
Yeah. So I personally think that he may have forgotten to like close the door,
or close it all the way, maybe,
or all the way, and then like either the wind pushed it open, or actually Kalimba has learned like how to kind of open the doors.
Yeah, but you have to. The door opens this way. So he has to put his claw open and dig it.
Yeah, he learns how to do that. Because even like when you were here, and I had like the door slightly open, he was doing that.
Wait, hold on a second. Kalimba, come here. Come here, Kalimba. I want to show you how big this dog is. So this is his brother Prince. This is his dog. My dog is maybe like a half a pound bigger. So this little dog uses little claws to pry open like a 10-pound door. Oh, I don't know. It could be. I mean, could be. And there's not a lot of wind here.
Yeah, so I mean, all these things are building up. Most recently, though, and this is like why this podcast is even like coming up, is because it was like 2 days ago, I did laundry and I left the laundry in there for a day. And in this laundry, I threw in my shoes. Xavier said to put it in a little pillowcase. We took out the soles of the shoes. The next day, when I put the laundry away, the pillowcase was gone, and one of the soles of my shoes was missing too. And I literally took out everything in the dryer and I spread it out across the bed. And there was only maybe like 15, 20 pieces of clothing that I had in the dryer. So it wasn't like a huge like load that I was like searching through. It was a couple of pieces, and we went one by one looking for this pillowcase. Couldn't find it. Went back in the dryer and like maybe it got stuck somewhere. It was empty. Looked back in the washer to see if maybe I forgot to throw it in the dryer. Wasn't there either. And I just found it weird. And Xavier was like kind of like rushing on his way to work. He was like, okay, I'll look for it in a little bit. He does the exact same thing I did. He looks through every single piece on the bed. Nothing, dryer, nothing, washer, nothing. And then he leaves to work. And like I remember this like as if I were in a horror movie. I hear the door shut. I go back to like start folding the laundry. And the first thing that I noticed was like the pillowcase, like kind of like in a ball on top of all the clothes on the bed. And like I'm getting goosebumps from like just saying that. But like that was so like in that moment, I was like, okay, this is strange. Possibility A would be that Xavier found it. He put it on the bed for me and like just forgot to tell me. Possibility 2 is that we both are blind and we clearly missed the huge ball of a pillowcase on top of the bed.
But I mean, I went through the laundry at least 2 or 3 times. I looked inside the pants. I turned everything inside out. I sorted everything. And I also looked in the dryer like several times because in my mind there has to be a logical explanation. These things were in there. Nobody took them out. Nobody went in there. They have to be somewhere.
Right. And I did the exact same thing. I flipped, the shirts inside out. I looked inside the jean legs and nothing. And then like the fact that it was like in a ball on top of all the clothes on the bed, it was essentially saying like, I'm right here. Like as if like someone like put it there. And that like low-key freaked me out at the time. But I was like with that like mentality, it's like, oh yeah, maybe like Xavier just like put it on there and forgot to tell me. So I was like, whatever. And then I'm still missing the sole of like one of my shoes. I don't know why. And I don't even feel like it was me. I feel like something or someone was like, check the dryer. So I go to the dryer and there was the sole of the missing sole of my shoe. And like what is just so bizarre to me was that I checked it with my own eyes at least 3 times. At least 3 times. But like the fact that like I just had like this intuition to like something like told me like go check the dryer. And it was there. Like that kind of like freaked me out.
And then there was also a situation where we went to San Diego. It was actually for my birthday. We went to San Diego. We stayed at the Hard Rock Cafe Hotel. We went to SeaWorld. We were tired, so we went to take a nap. We were planning to go out that night. So Manny said that he had a dream that he was talking to me, and I was telling him that we're going to die. And then he said that he woke up from this dream and asked me if I said anything to him, and I said no. And then I told him, or I whispered something to him, like, you're going to die. And then he woke up again, started freaking out on me, And I was like, what's going on? And he just couldn't make sense, couldn't make words, anything. But previously that I thought I was hearing voices, but I thought I was just really tired, or I thought maybe I mean, who hears voices? That's what I was saying. So I never really thought about it anyways, but I didn't really feel comfortable there anyways. So we pretty much packed up really quickly, and drove back. In the midst, I left my Fendi sweatshirt, which I recently just bought. I never wore ever at the hotel.
A lot of paranormal stuff has been happening. I am a victim of like paranormal activity since like childhood, and it's never gotten like this, I guess, scary. You know, we would see shadows. There was this one time, I guess my dad was like, it started getting cold in the room, and he was like, I feel like there's someone watching us. So he took a picture of literally like the room, and in the picture was a painting of, I think it was either me or my brother. Right next to the picture of our painting was like a random like face. It was like, I don't know how to explain it. There was just a face right next to our painting. And it wasn't like someone that we know. It was just like a random, like generic, like almost like ghost like face. That's like the best that I can explain it. I don't think he has that phone anymore, and we don't have the picture saved. But
you should come with a warning label.
No,
date
honestly,
me and you'll be haunted.
Well, I mean, I don't even know if I'm haunted, if that's the word, because that was like 2 houses ago. And most recently in like our recent house.
Spirits follow you though. Spirits attach themselves to energy. They're energy succubus. So they attach to you to energy.
My thing is, I feel like if you watch scary movies or you open your mind up to like that like side of things, like the paranormal side of the world, then I feel like you're more likely to become a victim of, being haunted or being whatever.
Or maybe your imagination just runs crazy because you see these movies, so you just assume everything. You assume like people are watching you. You assume like, oh my God, someone's following me when they're really not.
Right. So I don't watch scary movies anymore because of that. And ever since, I stopped watching anything like horror. But ever since I stopped doing that, I have not had a problem or any feeling of like someone watching me, something being there, feeling like scared. So it's just so strange that it's like it's coming back all over again. And it's not that I'm like terrified, it's more like annoyed, and it's like, okay, things are falling down. Is something gonna just like fly across the room now? Like clearly it's able to like push something down.
And then also when I was in college in New York City, I just moved there. I used to live in Queens. I worked another job where I got off at work at like midnight. So I had to walk back from the train to where I lived. I lived in Queens, so it wasn't that populated as Manhattan. So I had to walk maybe like 2 really long blocks home. I used to see shadows. I used to think people were following me. So I used to see shadows following me. I used to be across the street and look over. I would see like a figure, like in my peripheral vision. When I look over, I wouldn't see them. And then I would walk like this and look over, and I could see them like way across the street. I thought I was going crazy. And then I saw the psychic when I went to Juilliard. Me and my friends went to see a psychic. She told me that I had this negative spirit following me. She said that that if I wanted to get rid of the spirit, to pay her $500 and she would get rid of it. So of course I was like, whatever. My friends dragged me out of there very quickly, and then she found me at my school. I didn't tell her where I went to school. She found me and like tried to corner me to get me to pay this money, because she said like the doors are open now. She was in danger as well. And then she also told me that I would never, ever find happiness because this dark entity was always in my life.
So maybe you should have came with the warning label. So if you guys have experienced anything like paranormal, let us know in the comment section below. And that's it.
Until next time, Stay street smart.